Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Raising Vibrations live stream. I'm really excited to be sharing this space with you today. I I must admit, this live streaming experience has become a really enjoyable creation. And what I've really found interesting and fascinating about feeling this inside of myself and experiencing this is that a large part of my soul really enjoys connecting with community and really allowing and cultivating and creating and co-creating a conscious community where we are awakening ourselves, right? And through that awakening of ourselves, allowing for the experience of our life on earth to become more and more magical, even though life on earth in itself appears and on often occasions can really on an emotional level feel drastic and confusing and intense. So today's live stream is inspired greatly by the most recent events that have taken place on the global stage, geopolitical stage, in particular the American presidency. And I'm really empowered with inside of myself to reveal to you what I stand for, what I believe to be incredibly strong with inside of myself, and that being the message that I would like to deliver everybody today. So this is me really cranking up. I mean, I wouldn't say that my voice is full on at this point in time, but I would definitely say that the space that I'm going to be communicating from today is deeply connected with a part of myself that I don't know sometimes exists until I get opportunities like this to actually share what comes to me, what I feel. So this is a really powerful experience for me, and I really hope that today my channel is clear and I'm able to provide you with the knowledge that is deeply within inside of myself, that is really coming out here from the bottom of my heart. Like the centeredness of my heart is where I'm going to be communicating from today. And I truly hope that what I deliver today is something that makes you feel that, and at the same time also understands what's happening here. So with that being said, I've got two presentations today that are going to communicate information. Okay, I have a couple of like directions, a couple of aims that I would like to complete today. One of them is talking about how to understand and how to emotionally respond to the experience that not only is taking place in America right now, but also to understand how we are going through this experience as a collective. And what does that mean for us? Like, what does that mean for us on a level that is far beyond what the brain can conceive? So that's why it's a presentation today. I'm going to try to illustrate to everybody what I've been talking about for almost a year and a half on my YouTube channel. The baseline of why I do the work that I do is to support this reality that's manifesting in everybody's faces right now. I mean, this is it really. In a really odd way, the current experience that everybody is currently going through right now is very deeply rooted in what is taking place for us. So I've been speaking about a mutation and a metamorphosis, and the way that we are evolving as a species. So so what I'm looking to do today is use this opportunity to highlight to every single person the the reality, the reason why Raising Vibrations does the work that it does, the reason why I communicate all the material that you find on my YouTube channel. All of this is rooted in supporting the experience that everybody's going through right now. And that aim is to point the arrow, point the direction, point the consciousness that you are currently holding at this point in time, and direct it back to your center. Direct it back to the place of your beingness. Okay. Unfortunately, at the moment, my language or ability to articulate to a certain degree might contain some what can be considered new age words. I want to put it out there that a lot of the language slash articulation that I'm using is rooted deeply in bringing you back to your center. Okay. And so, like I said, some of these words might reflect that, but really what I'm trying to say to you is the complete opposite of that experience. Okay. But this is a serious conversation from my space. And so if you are going to engage in this in a way that is going to have the deepest amount of effect on you, then I would ask that you hear the communication in a way that has deep resonance to it. Like, right, that there is a depth to what I'm trying to talk about here. There is a seriousness that what I'm trying to talk about here, because the level at which we're needing to access, if we are to truly and honestly understand for ourselves what it means to be authentic, then the place that you would want to be operating from is from a place, like I said, that's very deep, that's very honoring of your sacredness, that's not rooted in idealism or ideas, etc., but very much about this matters to me. So that's another goal that I do want to bring out again, is the amount of presence, the amount of stillness that has to be cultivated in bringing your consciousness back to yourself. Okay, this is how I want to start this conversation. This is the framework of my message for every single person today, and how it is rooted deeply in the title, what is going on. Okay, healing and awakening the consciousness in a way that is authentic. So, as I said, there's three directions, two presentations. One is going to be talking about the planetary south nodes of the energies that are on, or should I say, the astrology, and that's going to give a very deep baseline for what is currently holding. Okay, what is currently holding? Just move my mic over here. What is currently holding this whole reality together? Okay, what does it mean to be on Earth? What does it mean to experience yourself on Earth? What is the context? Okay, so there has to be a context in order for us to frame something. Okay, to frame something, we need a context. So that is what the planetary nodes talk is going to be about. I haven't done this conversation openly before in this way, because I still don't feel like I'm 110% grounded in its balanced state, but I feel like I'm really close to it. And so that's what I'm going to be offering today. But there's still more on the subject that can be investigated. There's still more on the subject that can be reflected upon and understood. So the context. And then what I'm going to talk about is the astrology. Okay, so again, both of it is obviously the astrology, but I want to talk about the astrology of the election itself. So yesterday's astrology chart, and it was really fascinating, actually. I recorded a short 10-minute message that I was going to post on my YouTube channel, and when when I when I set it up to be edited and stuff, not the information, the sound was not present, and I'd realized that I'd forgot to turn on the mic, which happens. So that's one of the positives of having a live stream. It's like at some point somebody will tell you, "Look, dude, we can't hear you," and then you can kind of just like adjust that straight away in the beginning, and it's good. But so that didn't come through. It didn't record audio, and I took that as a sign for patience, and that's something that I do learn, that I do have to integrate within my soul's path as patience develops more maturity around an awareness that I'm cultivating. And so there was a sense of like, wait. And today, through more contemplation, more connection, more attunement of what my message was, I realized there was actually quite a lot of information that I wanted to share. So we're going to talk about the astrology and yesterday's chart, and I'm also going to then talk about what does it mean to protect yourself right now. What does it mean to understand the multidimensionality of you? Okay. Now, for most of us, we might know this. Okay, but for some of you that are watching this video and this live stream and are unaware of the multidimensionality that is taking place on the collective at this stage and how it operates for you as a multidimensional being, then this will be really, really fantastic, because it will give you, you're going to have your consciousness accelerate. And that's a Mars and Aquarius thing, which I love, because Mars is actually on my ascendant. It's literally on my ascendant at this point in time. So it's fascinating that I get to do this conversation in a way that's really healing for myself, but also Mars is on my ascendant, smashing out this capacity to feel really, really connected to my life's work, my life's path, including the realization that I had to wait before I could do this video, because that's part of my own personal soul's journey. So that's where I am. That's what I'm wanting to do today. I really hope that this video catches everybody in a way that's deeply, deeply resonative. I want to, before I go ahead, I want to also hold space a little bit in my heart and in my emotional reality for every person that has come onto this plane and has chosen to experience themselves in human form. We are so desensitized by the trauma of our human experience that it's almost foreign to us to really know what it feels like to hold space within our hearts for every single person's individual journey. Whenever you look out into the collective and you see somebody that is deeply you see somebody that is experiencing hate, experiencing their reality, where you can see darkness, where you can see separation, right? Boundaries of separation, hate, anger, pain, suffering. We all chose to a certain degree on some level to come to this plane to experience emotional processing, to process the material plane, to process this existence, but really to experience and process our own journey. And if you had to truly, truly tap into Pisces, okay, if you had to truly tap into it and really, really honor its authenticity, you would know in your heart that the barriers that separate us are only manifestations of our incarnation. They are manifestations of our incarnation, the physicalness. And the barriers that we create are because it is part of the body, because it is part of something that is more physical, in other words, limitations. Okay, so for me, for instance, I'm very much limited by my capacity to travel across the globe in a day. Okay, there are certain limitations, there are certain conditions, and we all have them. And when we look at those certain conditions and limitations that we incarnate into, we are aware that those boundaries, those limitations do serve a purpose. As deeply traumatizing as it can be to the idealization of our perception of what should life be like on Earth versus what it is at the moment, it can be deeply traumatizing. Because why would we not want to experience total love, total utopia, total acceptance, total compassion? Why would we not want to experience this reality where there is war? Well, simply because we are consciousness, soul, that does not look at the human experience through the lens that we process it on a psychological 3D level. And because of that, we have a very deep disconnect between what is the actual nature of the soul itself versus the way that we condition it through our physical senses. And there's a deep understanding that comes with this realization that when we understand the paradox of something, okay, when we understand the paradox of something, we are centered. And that centeredness is the place that keeps us in power. Our sovereignty, our own power is rooted in the paradox, the centeredness of our being, where we are not left, we're not right, but we are in the middle. And we're observing two polarities, and then that third polarity well, not third polarity, but that third pole is our magnetic monopole. Okay. And I'll show you in the descriptions today, the PowerPoint presentations today, what I actually mean by that in a more linear perspective. So the soul itself does not see things through this linearity. The ego does. The self-created identity that develops over a period of our lives. And so when we reflect upon the relationship that the soul has to the ego, we begin to see the nature of how much separation exists between Pisces and Saturn, or Pisces and Capricorn, right? Or the limitations versus the non-limitations, right? Pisces is about no boundaries. There isn't any, right? I know I have Moon opposed Neptune in my astrology chart, and my soul has had to anchor into its own existence the boundary concept. And what I've come to learn through that process is that the moment that you begin to initiate your own boundaries within your own life, you begin to understand your individuality, which again is one of the major truths that we can objectify when consciousness experiences itself on Earth. Like here's another beautiful explanation, right? You have the ocean, which is Pisces, and you have the experience of dropping something into the ocean and watching the droplet arise. Now that droplet in itself contains the whole entire molecular structure of the ocean because it is the ocean. But as it comes up into its into a higher form, as it were, it separates itself from the water, creating this illusion that it's separate. And yet fundamentally, the whole entire makeup of it isn't. But what does create itself very clearly is the uniqueness of that expression. So again, yeah, you have water, you take something heavy and you drop it into water, and all of a sudden you see droplets like arise. And those droplets separate from the water, and then they create their own kind of journey, and then they return back to the source. That's it. That's what consciousness is doing on itself. It's God, Goddess, Creatrix, Source, however you wish to describe it, experiencing itself. And so the individuality that manifests itself, Aquarius, is rooted in the separation between Capricorn and Pisces, Pisces being non-boundaries, Capricorn being boundaries, right? Separation, division. And don't you find it really, really fascinating at this point in time that we have Pluto in Capricorn and we have Neptune in Pisces, and the manifestations of these energies and these frequencies and these realities are emerging for us. That's why what I'm tuning into right now is coming from that space, because it's being guided through an inner knowing of how our cycles are mutating us, transforming us. But when you're in the middle of this storm, when you are in the middle of this experience of complete chaos and uncertainty and madness, you can easily not see what is actually occurring for us because we don't have that objectivity. Okay, so we're in the middle of the wave. So that's something that I really feel is firstly going to have a big fat full stop there. Okay, because that ends a part of, or a paragraph as to where, of something that needs to be contemplated. The nature of the expression of God, of creation, as from soul and consciousness, and that on a multidimensional level, something that exists in non-form, which is paradoxical again, because I said to you that something that exists in non-form is consciousness, and yet in form, which is the body, is consciousness in the body, right? So you are consciousness in the body. So consciousness is experiencing itself in the form, but yet you can't actually have that experience understood through the linear, logical 3D mind, because it's something that is more awoken with inside of you through feelings, through a sensation, through an inner knowingness that again has a very abstractness to it, but is rooted deeply within the feminine energy within it, okay? So there's that ending to that process over there. Deep contemplation about the nature of what soul is in that way. I think and feel that if everybody were to spend time within a period of their day honoring silence, honoring the reality, the construction, the presence of the soul, okay? In fact, I would actually promote that period of time to be a lot longer than 5 to 10 minutes, but a lot longer, where you're just present with everything and that you are cultivating the experience that your own acceleration, your own inner understanding of what it actually means to be human at this point in time and what the human being is going through at this stage will become even more clearer to you. And what I'm offering you through this short little brief description is the inspiration needed to understand, what does it mean to be a sovereign? What does it mean to bring your attention, bring your consciousness, bring your awareness back to your body, back to the stillness, back to the feelings that are, and sensations that are rooted deeply in your own mechanical bioform. That is the root of today's discussion on the healing and awakening process. For many of us that are experiencing the world right now, we are all heroes. Every single one of us, in some way, shape, or form, in your own process, in your own mad experience of what it means to be you, you're all a hero. The problem is that what you're interfacing with has got an incredibly deep, dark shroud around it at the moment. And the purpose of the deep, dark shroud that exists and surrounds the globe, that exists and surrounds you, and therefore the collective, is nothing more than an evolutionary progression of where we are right now. Where we are right now. The problem is that how do you actually evolve out of that state if you're not aware of it or having to become aware of it? How do you know that it exists? How do you know that this is not something that's healthy? How do you know that there isn't anything that exists beyond that scope if the experience itself is not promoting that need for aspiration, that need for ascension, that need for searching for a deeper meaning, searching for the deeper meaning that exists within you? You understand? So the point here is that Neptune is transiting over its own south node. The moon yesterday was conjunct Neptune and its own south node in Pisces. Okay. Now, in mundane astrology and normal astrology, and you'll see now in this conversation when you really, really resonate with what I'm trying to say here, the reason why it's so important to actually recognize that the current expression and understanding and intuitive knowledge that we contain within ourselves around astrology as a natural science, the relationship that we have towards self-knowledge, it's very little. And it creates all sorts of very, very deep unconscious realities that we have to consistently, on an emotional level, interface with, that stops us from recognizing that we have a choice. We do. We have a choice. And that's the point. The point is that this is not a time where you sit back and you allow the shadow aspects of Pisces, of Neptune, of the south node that's manifesting on the planet right now to be with you. You have a choice to choose what frequency to vibrate on. And every single day of your life, you're going to have to be vibrating on a frequency that is your choice. That is what it means to be co-creating. That's what it means to understand higher consciousness in the body. That's what it means to go through a mutation. And there is no illusion here. The illusion is the realization that everybody thought this was going to be some magical joyride that just came along and said, wow, this is, we're going to ascend and we're going to do all these magical things over here. And no, Jesus Christ, no, absolutely not. That's the first place. That's why this experience is happening for us right now, because it's about awakening. And it's not about becoming aware of some fuzzy, description of what it means to be multidimensional. It means the realization that you as a human being have got these different layers to yourself that are operating on different frequencies, and you're learning how to actually integrate yourself within all of those things. And that's hard work. That takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of deep, like understanding of the self. And that this is not a joke when it comes to this period of time. And I'm not saying that you are doing that. I'm just saying that it's not a joke. It doesn't come through some miraculous thing. It's a very, very arduous journey that is consistently challenging you on a day-to-day basis. Why do you think that the need for understanding the divine masculine, right? Now that word in itself has already been stigmatized to this, I don't know what you can call it, but the honest, from my perspective, and again, I just want to kind of put this out over there, a lot of what I'm sharing with you today is coming from the depths of my own heart, but I'm a human being too. So I'm sharing this message with pure intent and pure heartfulness, and that it might be confrontational to a certain degree, and it might be it might bring emotions to the surface that are going to be provoked. This is the intention. But for us to really heal ourselves here, and healing is not a process of just miraculousness. It comes through having to go through like certain stages. So what I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that with our experience of Pisces, Pisces is about the collective consciousness. Pisces is about the unconsciousness. It is about everything and it is about nothing. It is the totality. And the separation that exists is only there to create individuality through the understanding of each individual's path, okay? Each individual's journey. So with the moon and Neptune and the South Node all being there in Pisces yesterday, the process of our collective experience has reached a point in which what we used to evolve ourselves is no longer going to work for us anymore. That is the point. This is the point. The Neptune conjunct the South Node and Moon moving on to that place over there was the past, the self-identity that is the current. So this past is the South Node. The Moon correlates to our emotional reality on a moment-to-moment basis, how we're processing each moment that we're existing is the Moon. And the South Node, again, like I said, and then Neptune correlating to either one or two things. Complete and utter separation through not being able to see through the veil. That is the Saturn energy. And healing us, which is bringing us into deep compassion, which is bringing us into deep surrender. Now, these are very, very powerful words that I'm using at this point in time, especially around the words of surrender, the realization of what it means to be part of something that is even more profound than what our physical egos can understand or process. And even more deeply than that, what does it mean to actually be evolving through something that has such depth and intensity to it that even if we try to figure it out, even if we try to understand it from a mental perspective, we would actually go insane. Like, that's the way I see it. And for many people on the planet at this point in time, you have to understand that the energy that is pouring through, that is evolving and adjusting your electrical systems and changing the way and reshaping the way that you emotionally respond to stuff, the space, the energy that is pulsating through is vibrating on such a level that it's akin to, and I love this analogy because it's Jeffrey Wolf Green that spoke about it, where he talked about a bulb. And imagine if you had a bulb that was in a lamp, and that bulb had only the capacity to experience 40 watts, and you put that into a lamp that gave it 100 volts, and you put that light on. That 100 volts would break the bulb because the bulb could not hold the intensity of the electrical current that is moving through. And so that is the point here, is that there are different states of awarenesses that are on the planet at this point in time. And this bolt of energy is moving, or electricity, or however you wish to describe it as, is evolving through every single person's ego. Every single person's ego. It's evolving through it. And depending on the level of the capacity that you are able to understand, the capacity you're able to experience, will dictate how you're able to deal with this. So on one level, there's going to be an experience of fear. There's going to be an experience of uncertainty. There's going to be an experience of darkness. There's going to be an experience of chaos. There's going to be an experience of what is going on. And for a lot of people that are not experiencing their lives in a way that is similar to ours, imagine what that's like. Imagine the panic, imagine the fear, imagine the anger that is pulsating through, that they have no idea that that is what's occurring right now for them. And for us that are sitting here right now that have to a certain degree a capacity to understand the nature of this experience, we have our own emotions. We have our own things to process. Now, that invites us all to spend a great deal of time retracting from the collective field and getting in touch with what's real for you. Getting in touch with what does this mean for you? Paying attention to the deep emotions that are arising within you that are coming through and saying, immigrate, move away, danger, what's going to happen? Ask yourself and honor those deep emotions. Allow yourself to allow for that fear to be present with you, and that also respond to it with this enveloping aura of, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to be okay. Pluto transits Capricorn. Pluto's been there since 2008. What does it feel like to have a child? How many of you are parents? It doesn't matter if you're not, by the way, because you still have experienced this. But for those of you that have looked at young children before, experienced in engaging in young children, you being a child yourself at some point in time, and to those of you that are parents to young children that I'm talking about recently at this point in time, you get a deep sensation, an understanding that what are parents to young children? What does it mean to be in a position where you are a parent, where you are looking after something that is more vulnerable than you are? Now, I'm not saying that you're not vulnerable in that sense. I mean, because we're all vulnerable, even if we're not parents. Even a cat or a dog or anybody that has ever taken in something that has been smaller than yourself, and you felt the responsibility of what it does mean to be a parent to that, to give, to be for your life to be in a position where you can support another being through its own very early growth process. Okay, be with that space for a little bit and ask yourself, what does it feel like to be on the other end? Imagine if I took everybody and put you into a room and switched off the lights, and you had 34 people there, 50 people, whatever it is, and you switched off the lights with no instructions or anything of the sort. You can imagine what this must be like: the uncertainty, the darkness, the sense of panic, the hysteria, all of that. This is what it means to understand Neptune. This is what it means to understand Neptune transit through Pisces and Neptune and Pluto through Capricorn. These two dynamics that are taking place right now. You have the one side where you have this emotional reality where you are looking up to somebody else in a very instinctual and very emotional level to make sure that your survival is there. What does it mean to feel safe? What does it mean to feel secure? Now, as Pluto transits through Capricorn, we're being asked a very, very direct question. A very, very direct question. What does it mean to put your security into something external? For you, for me, for every single one of us. What does it mean to have that structure be in place, and then all of a sudden for us to then have that structure, that said governments, that said Capricorn authority, parent, reveal itself that is deeply narcissistic, reveal itself that is deeply forged in an unawareness of compassion? What about if you had to realize that the structures that were keeping you safe no longer are working for you anymore? Do you think it's natural for you to feel the insecurity that you have right now, the sense of wonder, the sense of chaos, the sense of panic? Of course. The way that we have governed ourselves up to this point in time has literally been completely and utterly at this point revealed to us. And we have a choice right now, completely right now, bringing it to everybody right now. We all have a choice right now to start developing the mutation, to understand what it means to actually have Pluto transit over its own south node, what it means to have Pluto move through Capricorn at this point in time, for us to all have emotional realities deeply ingrained, deeply invested in an external system and external governments, to understand what it means to not be sovereign. And now for it to be fully awakened within ourselves. And now we're faced with a choice. We're faced with a deep, deep choice of how are we going to respond? How are we going to respond? We are so new. We are so fresh. We're so vulnerable. We are so openly waiting for a savior. And as long as your attention, as long as your awareness, and as long as your energy is placed existentially, you're going to be searching for a very, very long time. This is the greatest lesson that we all are going to face at this point in time. And on some level, we are all wanting to experience this reality for us to develop this. That is a very, very heavy and bold statement. Because if you were to, and we were to, and I was to, understand and actually pay attention to the depth of what it means to recalibrate your sense of security and remove it back to your centeredness so that you become your own parent, that you become your own sovereign being, that you grow up, that we grow up, so that we are able to actually have an effect in a reality that is deeply, deeply conditioned by our own awareness of ourselves. That's where it lies. That's where we're pathed. That's our journey. Every single one of us that is sitting here right now today. And for the rest of the collective at this point in time that are in a deep state of panic, there are two realities for us. One, the awareness that every single person is on their own journey, that their own pain, their own suffering, their own emotional realities that have been suppressed through the overextension of our traumatized masculine energy, our blindness through programming and through suppression of our spirituality, through our own unawakenedness. It is now right in front of us. And it is up to me, you, and every single person that is able to recognize this within ourselves, to find the place within inside of your heart that understands the paradox here. And the paradox is that you are here to serve yourself. You are here to serve your own awakening, your own heart-centered experience that brings you to the realization of what it means to be you. But then to do it with such strong integrity that you're able to actually bring to the rest of us not only a divine light of total inspiration, but also a glimmer of hope. That in the experience on a psychological and more primal level that appears to be incredibly dark, we're actually on a journey to experience something that, from my point of view, I don't think that we've ever actually gone through. And that we're at a point within our evolution over the next 3 to 4 years that is going to very, very much dictate the nature of how we choose to respond. And this is the message here today. The message here today is do not get pulled into the shadow. The collective unconsciousness and its progression of its own evolution will take its course. Worry about yourself. Worry about your own inner space. Worry about your own expression of individuality. Worry about your own realization of what it means to be you, and worry about holding a flame of integrity so that everybody gets inspired by the search within inside of yourself as they can do it for themselves. This does not mean becoming selfish. This means understanding yourself, because the root of our suffering to a certain degree at the same time is also highly, highly affected by our inability to understand our individuated sense. Who are we? Do we know ourselves truly? Do we even know what we are? We claim to know it from a mental perspective, but on an emotional level and on a more deeper inner space of what it means to exist, beingness, have we really spent enough time knowing the truth of this process? Does it seem to be the case? I don't think so. And because of that, I think we've got a lot of stuff to actually pay attention to that's immediate for us right now. And that when we begin to share our own experiences of what it means to awaken ourselves over a period of time, we will begin to accelerate that process. Mars and Aquarius. What is your individuality? What does it mean to see the world from your perspective? Doesn't mean you're right or wrong. No judgment. And that's a fantastic thing that I want to bring into here. There is also a transition from the words I use is Pisces age to Aquarius age. But what does that mean? It means moving away from a reality that is heavily induced in judgment, criticism, the merging of what does it mean to have just the merging process, to finding individual tribes that reflect and resonate the vibration or frequency that it is that we are. And to be able to belong to a tribe that honors that as they honor that in themselves, they naturally honor it in you because it's a two-way conversation. And that like minds attract like minds, and that your tribe, your inner vibration, your inner sense of who you are is being discovered. Now think about the natural transition it takes from going from a Pisces age to an Aquarian age where that type of process is occurring. This is not something just as like you put on some shoes and you go outdoors. This is 600 years worth of generational transitioning that's occurring for us right now. I mean, we're only probably around about 50, 60 years into the process from my point of view. But it's accelerating at a rate where we're becoming aware of the necessity of this process. So each of us has a deep role to play, not only in helping us right now as a collective stand, but realizing the deeper truth here, that we are consciousness evolving over time, experiencing itself in human form, and that this experience right now is a deep, deep energetic shift that is mutating us on so many profound levels that we couldn't even comprehend with the mental sphere, that is only felt. So with that in view, I'm going to jump onto just give us like a minute break or so, just to drink some water, and then I'm going to come back to two short little descriptions, short little PowerPoint presentations, okay? And I'll see you guys in about 2 minutes. Okay, everybody, I hope you can hear me okay. So I'm going to get started with this process. And I just want to really, again, bring home what this message is about today, what I'm trying to vibrate and what I'm trying to communicate, what I'm trying to connect with, what my frequency's on, where am I coming from, what is the purpose. I'm trying to inspire the consciousness that is rooted in sanity, right? Rooted in being able to process the next couple of years of what we're going to experience on the earth, what we're going to go through, what we're currently going through right now, and to really deeply inspire a way of helping us navigate away from suffering. But when I say helping like move away from suffering, I don't mean it in the sense that suffering is bad. There's no judgment on it. I'm talking about unnecessary experiences of choices and realities that are rooted in unknowingness. Okay? So what I'm going to try to do is exactly this picture over here. I'm going to try and drop some information into the collective field, and then eventually over a period of time it becomes a wave that just gathers momentum, and that's what it's about really. This is just about creating a frequency that gathers momentum. So the first thing that I want to work with over here, I'm using a tool of measurement, okay, that was used by the Vedics, and it's a way of emotionally relating to or capturing or trying to understand cycles of our evolution, okay, over a galactic period of time. So something that is inconceivable to the mind, because we don't use these types of figures, these types of years in our day-to-day existence. What we use in our day-to-day existence is, okay, get up, it's going to take me this period of time to do this, it's going to get me that period of time to do that. We don't spend a great deal of time contemplating, which is one of the reasons why I'm here going, we should be. You know what I'm trying to say? This is what it means to get out of this very limited framework of what does it mean to be human, and to start accessing the more depth that it means to be us. Okay, and exploring this through like happiness, through a sense of immense discovery. Like we each day you should have, and like I say it as a should actually, you should actually allocate. Everybody's different, so this is not something that you have to feel like you're not doing and therefore you're failing. What I'm saying is that you should, from my point of view, as a suggestion, allocate a period of your time to exploring knowledge, exploring and awakening your mind, okay, in some way, shape, or form, and also in deep contemplation, right? What does it mean to be you, etc.? So what we're looking at here is the Yuga cycles, okay, and in particular the way that the Eastern philosophies have measured our evolutionary progression. And the point of this picture here is to talk about the wave or the frequency, the energetic evolution of our awareness on its most deepest form. I'm not talking about us on the surface level feeling what we feel right now. I'm talking about the nature of how generations have their own specific way of looking at reality, and then another generation coming in and their specific relationship to reality, and the inventions that come through those relationships, and manifestations of their own beingness, and so on and so forth, right? So let's just take a very simple example. Let's talk about the natural way that we have gone from just having a normal television in the in 1960s to what is available to us today. And just look at the kind of growth process of what that means. That would be a way to measure what we're dealing with here. But now let's just amplify that measurement in a galactic sense. So it's a huge wave that's taking forever to reveal itself. So we won't be on this planet experiencing the entirety of this wave. But what we will do is collect within ourselves imprinting that is stored within our DNA that reflects this evolutionary progression that will never ever leave us. This is why we, to a certain degree, will always within our DNA carry this journey of what it means to be you on a soul level. So we're talking great lengths of time. And you can see here in this picture, we're talking about the material ages. We're talking about the nature of the most amount of darkness that is on the planet at this point in time. That's where we're evolving out of. So the material ages and the age of our existence has been deeply rooted in investigating and exploring creation in this form. Okay, so we have a lot of materialism. We have a lot of trauma and unconscious manifestations and emotions and realities, all this type of stuff, deeply rooted out or blossoming out of this trajectory that we've all been on for God knows how long. So if we had to just go, oh, let's just have everything wonderful and fantastic and great, not only would we actually struggle to psychologically process that reality shift, we would probably go insane because we wouldn't know how to actually understand what it meant to operate on higher frequencies. So the point here is that if we had to ask for a reality anything less than what we have right now, we won't be emotionally progressing and evolving in a natural way. That's a very, very deep thing to contemplate that I feel would take at least a month for us to get comfortable with understanding that it's actually quite natural for this current evolutionary trajectory to look the way that it looks right now. Because not only does it mean that from this point, we can then begin to make choices within ourselves that moves us in a direction that is rooted in, hey, there must be something more to life than this. There must be something that we can experience and do and influence that has a very different reality to what we're having right now. And that's only manifested because of the current reality inside of ourselves right now. It's what's here. So if we build a house and we noticed that, and then we had 3 children in the house, and the home was really, really dirty, and we noticed that our time spent cleaning is really, really, it's a lot. And we go, why can't we just create something that would do some of the work for us to make our lives easier? Oh, look what manifested, a vacuum cleaner as an example. And all of a sudden, this kind of invention out of thin air, literally, becomes something that we then have physically incarnated, and now we're using to make our lives a little bit better relative to the struggle that we've been experiencing pre the vacuum cleaner invention. So it's the same thing here. In order for us to naturally develop the solutions for the issues and challenges that we face as a collective right now, we have to go through this experience. So make peace with it. On the outside world, that's not a very easy thing to say, and I get that completely. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm just saying that every single one of us needs to come back to our bodies, come back to our own individual journey, and invent the solutions that manifest from within ourselves, that inspires. Okay? Works with our own trauma. Okay, so we've got this huge galactic cycle that's occurring for us. We're evolving through the process. It takes a long period of time for us to move out of it, but at least we know where we've been coming from, which has been where we are right now. You can validate it. Look around you. You can see the material age. You can see the Kali Yuga cycle, as it were, the death cycle, the destruction cycle, the darkened cycle. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that that's where our consciousness is being. And as we illuminate ourselves, we begin to see more of the darkness, right? Right? So imagine you never ever knew of darkness. Imagine if you grew up completely in darkness, but you had no idea that that's what it was until you invented fire. And fire, which is light, creates a contrast between something that is brighter than the darkness. And then you go, wow, that was what I was existing within. Well, this is what's manifesting here. The more there is a lightened experience, the more we see the darkness, the more it promotes us to go for the light, evolve to the light, ascend, shin. So that's that process there. Now, the next thing in this is to understand what does it mean to actually experience consciousness evolving itself through human form. Firstly, we're seeing the expansion of time. Okay? I'm going to show you in the end of the live stream and talking about how the natural expansion of time is actually rooted in your hand, and that you can see it manifest itself. In fact, if everyone was watching it right now, clutched your hands together, like close, just one of your hands into a fist-like shape, and then slowly but surely begin to open your hands and the palm of your hands. Open it slowly, slowly like that. You would actually notice that there would be a very interesting connection between the nature of how your hand is opening from the fisted experience as it expands and takes up more space, and to how a flower flowers or a tree grows. That is life. It's as simple as that. It's life. And that is what's coming onto the planet, this realization that there is life here and that we are part of it, and that we need to stop moving and making choices and being part of experiences that create darkness within our light. So this is a responsibility we all have. And again, we're interfacing with multiple dynamics here. So this is not something that's just simple, okay? But it can start simply by recognizing what does it mean to be human. What does it mean to understand the process that exists here for us, is that we are expanding over time. So that's when you were born, and this is how you're expanding, opening your consciousness to higher and higher and higher and wider experiences. More presence, more awareness. The other part here is the nature and energetic dynamics of what it means to be us going through space. That's what we are. We're on a trajectory, and we're going and we're heading in a direction, and we would love to have control over that direction, but we don't. So it's just a case of going, okay, whatever it is that my path is, I've got to honor it. And it's just what my soul intended. Let's get on board with that process, right? That's this process, soul shaping. Over time, you're experiencing your universal journey, as it were, right? There you are in the middle, Earth. The toroidal field around you, experiencing itself, the trajectory of ourselves, and that is our past and our energetic auras and all those types of funny things that we talk about in enlightened states of being. Okay. So I just wanted to show you over here, I had written that Jupiter is 29 degrees Sagittarius. It's also between 29 degrees of Sagittarius and 22 degrees of Capricorn. Okay, just over there, because I read this before. What you're looking at here is the south nodes of Pluto, the south nodes of Saturn, and the south nodes of Jupiter. Okay, there's Pluto, there's Saturn and Jupiter. And the south nodes of each planet that I'm representing here, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, are all in the constellation Capricorn. Okay? Between 19 degrees and 22 degrees of Capricorn is where Pluto exists for everybody on the planet. And the south node of Saturn is between 18 and 30 degrees of Capricorn. And Jupiter, like I said, between 29 degrees of Sagittarius and 22 degrees of Capricorn, everybody has those south nodes. Now, what is a south node? A south node, very simply, is a word that's used to describe the cauldron of experiences that reflect the past. A cauldron that holds the experiences of our past. So what have we been using to evolve ourselves through in the past? And so these symbols cannot be taken literally in that sense, but this is the more masculine description of them. But what we're dealing with here on a more deep intuitive level is the wave, okay, as it were, the unconscious wave that has been holding us, our consciousness. Okay, remember, to be awakened, to be conscious, is to realize that you are here yourself. The body is the cauldron that holds the awakened experiences, or the self. So the vehicle, as it were, the construction, the realities, the ideals, the ideologies, the belief systems, the laws, the everything has been deeply rooted in Capricorn, which is where? Where is Pluto today? Pluto is currently 16 degrees Capricorn. Where is the south node of Pluto? 19 degrees Capricorn. So as Pluto moves over its own south node, okay, and there's a really, really interesting article that I wrote on my website, simonforster.com, that talks about the story of awakening. And it talks about the planetary south nodes. And it talks about that we are reaching a point within our collective consciousness where the response, Capricorn, response to this current reality is needing to be integrated in a new way. So our response to this reality is needing to be integrated in a new way. Why? Because we're reaching a point where the past identity structures that we have used to evolve ourselves over the last 256 years no longer supports us anymore, and anything that doesn't work will simply crumble. That is why you see Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, all the south nodes in Capricorn. And what did I talk about the Capricorn archetype in the introduction discussion? I talked about the structure that holds us safe. Imagine if you were in an airplane and I said to you, oh, by the way, guys, I'm going to now remove the wings, and I'm also going to remove the capsule that everybody's in, and we're going to experience flying from point A to point B without these present. How do you think your electrical system and mind's going to operate when it hears this information? I probably could say that if I had to record it, there would be about 1,000 years worth of profane language that would come out of our mouths, because the amount of insanity that would be existing within us right now. So what's the difference between having me tell you that the capsule that holds the plane together, as well as the wings itself, are being removed? What's the difference between me telling you that the whole entire self-identity structure, as well as governmental structures and every boundary that we've put in place to protect ourselves, is being completely dissolved? What's the difference in response? Now you can imagine that the depth that we're actually working with right now is not something simply as like a presidential election changing or the world doing this the next thing. It's on a collective level, the whole entire shift of emotional security moving from something that no longer serves us anymore to something that represents where we are fundamentally going, which is that we don't want an external authority to guide us. We want to find out what it means to understand our own sovereignty. But in order for us to understand that sovereignty, we need to go through the process of realizing what it means to let go of an external savior and for us to come into ourselves. And this is what will be promoted over the next couple of years for us. So this is what this video is like. This video is intended to say, look, this is where we are. So now we've got a head start. How do we do this? Well, we begin by practicing every single day realization of self, realization of deep spiritual practices that develop and cultivate an awareness that as much as we would like to have our personal safety and security externalized, we're never ever going to have that consistently be there. And that's just how it is. Scorpio will teach you that through its natural square to Aquarius. So here we have a manifestation of external figures that represent the guidance and sovereignty, or the guidance and structures for every single person. And what we have is an emotional reality that creates this deep, deep, deep uncertainty that we don't have protection anymore. We don't have the parents looking after us anymore. We don't have that luxury anymore. And at some point, we'll come to realize that. So the hype at the stage at this point in time is there is madness, there is chaos. Again, imagine if you were a child, and God forbid that this happened to any single person, but you could definitely go and speak to one of the children that this has happened to, and you will see the fear and uncertainty and sadness and confusion when you say to them that their parents have gone to another place, or their parents have abandoned them, or their parents have done whatever. And this little orphan kid looks at you and says, like, they can't even process that. That's where we are. Why do you think the South Node, the full moon that's happening in like 1-2 days time, and like maybe 2 or 3 days time, is taking place in Taurus? Taurus is not about like financial acquisitions and such like that. Taurus's deepest lesson is to tell you to realize that we are here to understand self-reliability, self-sustainability. That it's rooted in our capacity to understand what are our essential needs as individuals, and as a collective, as a community. So as the structures that have been rooted in the self-identification of all the south nodes in Pluto, Saturn, and all of that being there, and Pluto's just moving over that experience, just destroying everything, you'll come to realize that the polarity point, i.e. the evolutionary intention of said structures, is Cancer, Cancer, and Cancer. And we all know the archetype of Cancer is deeply rooted in our capacity to nourish ourselves, deeply rooted in our capacity to become secure within inside of ourselves, deeply rooted in our capacity to understand what it means to develop a community that is nourishing us on a level, and to stand together. A community runs perfectly when there is a sense of strongness that is held within that the collective, the people are helping each other recognize that this is part of something that's providing them with deep like place to exist within. We're evolving through that archetype. The Cancer archetype is deeply, deeply connected with developing security from within. And for anybody that's got a 4th house Pluto in their astrology chart, that's had a 4th house Pluto transit, that has Pluto transiting their 4th house, you will know what that means because you would have gone through the experience. So we are today again, understanding that the root of this experience is to develop a deep, deep sense of security from within, so that when we are out in the world and we're operating through a mature, adult, sovereign, adept way, we are realizing that our security is within. And that when that unwavering security is established within by grounding your body and yourself back into your body consistently, groundedness, 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 coming back into the body, coming back into your path, coming back into your reality that's manifesting for you right now. And working with that on a day-to-day basis. And creating conscious relationships with others that are looking for the same experience, that want to make the world a better place. So then you have Pluto through Capricorn, like I said, here's the beautiful experience. There's consciousness, there's the structures, you can see what we've created. It's now time for that structure that's there to reshape itself so that the external manifestation of what you see in the outside world gets changed. That's being messed with. That's what's being corrupted. That's what's being that's what's causing that like little framework it's just outdated. So everything that we see here today is just dissolving. Now, I put Jupiter in Sagittarius, but I did mean Jupiter in Capricorn. This correlates to the diversity of belief systems that we have. And Saturn in Capricorn just reflecting the shieldedness. In the links at the end of this video, I will link 2 descriptions by a guy by the name of Jeff Brown. I highly recommend reading these 2 articles. One of them is called An Apologies to the Divine Masculine, and the other one's called The Apologies to the Divine Feminine. And they are highly, highly instrumental in awakening ourselves and understanding what we have been going through with all of these planets moving through Capricorn. Because every single one of these systems have in some way, shape or form created this armoring around us that we need to defend ourselves, that we need to create a deep sense of shieldedness that stops us from feeling. That's the thing with Capricorn, the numbness, the disassociation, the detachment, the drinking that can manifest from a reality that we cannot process because it's so intense for us. This is what's going to occur with everything on the south node of Neptune. The disassociation that has led us to become so numb that we haven't actually begun to even know how much rage and anger that exists within us because of the pain that has been so suppressed. So before we even begin to look at reality as something that's going to be wonderful and magical and it's going to solve itself, we need to fix our own stuff within ourselves. The amount of pain, when we resolve that within ourselves, we awaken the heart to be able to become more deeply compassionate to the rest of us. So now we're looking at the south node of Neptune. And the south node of Neptune is between 10 and 14 degrees of Aquarius. Okay? And the north node of Neptune sits at 10 to 14 degrees of Leo. And the purpose of understanding the south node of Neptune is simple. Spirit consciousness. And spirit consciousness reflects the relationship that we each have to our reality that we are evolving at this point in time. So we have the structures, and then we have our own individuality, Aquarius, Leo. Now again, all of these archetypes are coming up for what? They're coming up for review. We're reshaping them as we experience our lives right now. So up until now, because of the natural laws of separation that have existed within us, because of the overdeveloped masculine ego that's rooted in defense and protection, that's more about war versus vulnerability, the south node of Neptune and Aquarius is played out as this deep need for, it's about illusion and disillusionment through our trauma, through our separative minds, our traumatized minds, our sense of individuality that is rooted in idealism, elitism. So spirit consciousness at this point in time is naturally moving through us, awakening deeper parts of ourselves to understand that the south node of Neptune through Aquarius and its polarity point Leo is asking us to become more awakened to our own individual journeys through exploring our own individual reality, our own inner emotional reality, polarity points of Capricorn. And through that, then allowing us to naturally evolve into the Aquarian age or allow for those processes to take place. These things are already going to happen. It's not something we have to do, by the way. I can assure you that right now. That's one of the benefits of this experience, is we just have to watch our experience evolve through it. It's far greater than our individual journey. Don't try and think that you're going to fix this by your own, today I'm going to think positive thoughts. It doesn't work like that. It works through us consistently just honoring our own individual paths, stay your course, honor your projects, honor your path, honor your heart-centeredness, and what you begin to share as what you feel is helpful to everybody else. And through this process, we will naturally begin to experience this awakening. So then you have the south node of, like I said, Neptune and Pisces right now, spirit consciousness. We're looking at the cycles. We're looking at evolution through time. And we're looking at self-reflected consciousness. Self-reflected consciousness is the realization that in the past, we have feared great things. We have evolved through instant awareness of something. Oh, okay, this is splenic. This is this process of realizing things in the moment, understanding your intuition, and then evolving through that. Matriarchy in some way, shape, or form. And then we begin to evolve ourselves into a place where we use the mind. And we've been living in this external manifestation of mental capacity and mental manifestations. And what is now evolving for us at this point in time is asking us to look deeply, deeply within inside of ourselves, to reflect in our own inner consciousness, our own inner state of beingness, and to understand that emotions are what is going to be the next wave for us. How do we feel on this experience? All of these emotions are coming to the surface right now through these experiences. And some people know how to work with them and some people don't. And that's where we are. We're becoming aware forcefully through this experience to become aware of our own emotional reality, which is reflecting our spirit, consciousness, awareness, and awakening our electrical systems. And again, the degree of this experience is going from people that are immensely traumatized because they have no idea what's going on and are acting in a deep unconscious state that is rooted in an ego that is completely and utterly scared and vulnerable, to souls that are able to process this on some level and at least be way showers, that we all can be. Each individually, your path is your own. And this brings me then to the south node of Aquarius, the south node of Uranus. It's between 11 and 17 degrees Sagittarius. And this is the individuated awareness. So we have the structure of our emotional reality, Pluto and Capricorn. We have the realization of spirit consciousness through the realization that we, as much as we would like to have complete influence over the way that things work, we don't. And that there are forces and experiences and realities that are far larger than ourselves that are operating through us, and that we are evolving our awareness through those experiences that is leading us to understand our individuated awareness. What is this individuated path for you? How has every single one reacted to this experience in their own way? What do you have to bring to the table? Do you feel rage and anger towards things? Do you feel a sense of compassion? All of this type of stuff has been brought to the surface and your electrical system's gone haywire. And your mind and your brain has all gone crazy. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do to process with this stuff? Here's the answer, at least for what I suggest. Deep breaths, in, out, awareness back to the center, awareness back to yourself, stillness. And allow that space to be with you so that you can feel deeply, 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 deeply into this experience, to understand what it's actually doing for us, to understand the level of awareness that is arising within us right now. That is what is available for us right now. That is what is working through us right now. The chaos in the external world and the manifestation of how these things have operated are byproducts of this electrical energy surging through us right now that is forcing everything to appear as if it's gone bonkers, which it has. But it hasn't at the same time. It's not as dark as it appears. That is why we need to bring it back to our centeredness. That's why we need to bring it back to our own being and spend time in that space, realizing that your sovereignty and your own center, your own sense, your own beingness is still here. God consciousness is still here within you. You are it. The south node of Uranus, as you can notice, Saturn's actually transiting over the south node of Uranus at this stage. What's fascinating about this is that we're having the natural fanatical experiences of belief systems and radical ideals and ideologies all being completely disillusioned. Everybody's perception of what's happening or what's going on, etc., is all being tested at this stage, and a deep rewriting of what is the truth is being revealed to us right now. This process is bringing to us an even closer realization of the division and conflict that is manifested with the south node of Uranus being in Sagittarius. Uranus, trauma, collective trauma rooted in our psyche from an experience that happened to us that has created this need for division, this created this need for conflict, and has separated us from our natural relationship to the divine feminine. And it's awakening right now within inside of us. And as a collective experience that's surging through us right now, your relationship to coming back to the body is what this is asking us to do. Saturn, emotional experiences. A very, 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 very powerful time through these collective south nodes that are manifesting for us right now. And what I wanted to say, through our individuated states of awarenesses, you will notice that there's going to be a huge mass migration. And I don't mean a migration in the sense of people packing up their things and moving to different countries. I don't mean it like that in that literal sense. I mean in the sense of a migration to states of awarenesses within inside of themselves that are going to lead them and lead us and lead me and you to begin to understand what belongs on our fractal and what doesn't. What belongs on our solar system? What are we prepared to accept that is right for us? What are we prepared to accept? What choices do we have that we should be making? And we have a choice. We have a voice. That's what this is doing. It's saying we do have one. The problem is that if you're placing your voice in some external savior, then that's when you're going to see the complete and utter surrender. But if you bring your attention back to yourself and you honor the voice that's within you, like I'm doing here today, then you will begin to see that you do have a voice and you do affect a lot of people. And it all begins deeply, deeply with the integrity of understanding this process, understanding the depth in which this is actually occurring for us right now. Because at some point, as this evolves for us, we will begin to see the migration take place for us on a DNA level, where we're evolving, what is right for us, what is the right place for us, what is the wrong place for us, where we wish to reside, etc. And then we begin to find our tribe, we begin to find our fractal. This is the ascension process. This is the, and when I say ascension, I just simply mean the process of us awakening our consciousness through our body and just experiencing that more and more and more and more, the depth of us, seeing humanity for where it is, understanding humanity for where it is, understanding where you are at this point in time, understanding what it means to be us right now. It's a lot more complicated and a lot more deeper than just our own projections. And that's what I'm asking us to do here again, is bring it back to the centeredness of ourselves. Okay, everybody, give me another minute or so I get some water and I'll go into the next slide show for you quickly. Okay? Okay, can everybody hear me? So this is going to be the presentation and talking about, that was very, very abstract. That was very discussing everything on a more like energetic wavelength way, how consciousness is evolving. What I want to do right now is empower us through understanding what it means to protect yourself from experiences and how from frequencies and vibrations, etc., and to understand what it means to be a human being interfacing with an electrical world. So it's like there's quite a lot of stuff here that I want to bring through in this conversation. Okay, so what you're looking at firstly, and I just need to quickly check something here just to make sure that we've all got. Let me just have a look here. So, yeah, everybody can, there we go. Okay, so this is the astrology chart from yesterday. Some of the things that were really fascinating to notice is, firstly, Mars entered Aquarius, okay? Now, Mars is the archetype or the energy that correlates to the instinctual action that each of us have. It's this pulse that operates within ourselves that allows us to act and move in a direction that brings us awareness of our path. It's the journey. Okay, so think of the car as the body. Think of desire as something that propels you in a direction, and think of Mars as the energy that says, I'm going to put my foot in the gasoline and do it. Okay, so whenever you look at Mars in the astrology chart, firstly, understand it as the evolutionary trigger point that consistently allows us to action the desires of Pluto. So Pluto being the wave, like I said, and Mars being the process that allows that wave to actually actualize itself, right? So Mars and Pluto are in what is called, they're out of that frequency now because it's already 15 degrees, but they're in what is called a new phase relationship in evolutionary astrology. And what that simply means is that we're beginning a new evolutionary cycle, okay? And we can see that. There's a new evolutionary cycle on the planet. As Mars enters Aquarius, you experience the Aquarius energy, shock, okay? Detachment, a need to step back and look at something. Now, wherever you have Aquarius in your astrology charts, if you've got a strong Uranus signature in your charts, there's going to be a lot of experiences that are going to interact with your awareness, where you're going to experience your awareness being pulled out of its comfort zone in order to see things from a newer perspective or a different perspective, paradigm shift. So Mars enters Aquarius and we have a paradigm shift, right? We are faced with the reality of, let's just put this in this case, Trump being president of America. Unexpected experience, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of shock, a lot of detachment, a lot of like trauma that is manifesting deeply from the collective unconsciousness at this stage. So all of this stuff has been completely triggered by this Mars entering Aquarius experience. On there, 0 degrees, it enters it. The ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So the ruler of Mars is Aquarius. The ruler of Aquarius in this particular case is Aries here, so therefore it's Mars. Can you see that yesterday's chart was ruled completely by this experience from my point of view? Okay. Mars and Aquarius, double signature there. So that shocking experience, and notice this shocking experience just out of the blue, bonk, here we are. So that's that. And then what we have as well is we have the relationship to this, which I spoke about, the moon crossing over Neptune and crossing over the south node. Now, Neptune, again, I spoke a lot about it, but primarily correlates to the natural law of disillusionment, right? Ideals and expectations, inspirations, emotional ecstasy, and its polarity. What is the polarity of ecstasy in that sense? Of aspiration, of heightened awareness, complete and utter despair, a sense of no meaning. Can you see that the polarity here, Jupiter in Libra, remember, Libra correlates to the archetype of extremes. Remember that the extreme energy that we're experiencing right now, remember I spoke to you about Neptune quincunx Jupiter, Neptune that sits there, quincunx Jupiter, disillusionment, right? Every single one of us within our own realities has a 12th house and a 7th house. Whatever sign rules your 12th house and whatever sign rules your 7th house in those planetary configurations will tell you specifically how you project an ultimate meaning into something. And then through the experience of adjustment, aka disillusionment, you'll become aware of your ideals versus what actually is. And so that was a massive part about the reality that we all faced yesterday. This realization that on one hand you see this extreme reality filled with excitement, joy, and wonder, etc., and the other one of complete hopelessness. All of these, the range of emotions that we experienced was extreme, and really, really going on those Neptunian experiences of, like I said, ultimate surrender, a realization, a disillusionment, an unexpected experience. And again, all of it hitting the south node there. So again, here we are, back to the past. Pluto's south node in Capricorn, Pluto transit over its south node, making new choices from the past. So do we respond to this new reality where we continue to keep the separation between us valid, or do we cultivate within inside of ourselves more awakening experiences within ourselves, hold our centeredness within ourselves, and begin to develop a direction that is rooted in our understanding of sovereignty? We have a choice. That choice is to honor our path, to awaken ourselves so that we inspire to awaken others, to allow ourselves to work as a united front, not against anything, but as a process of our own awakening. So, South Node, Neptune experience, hysteria, complete confusion, right? All of this type of stuff. But also Neptune correlates to the fact that when you look outside of yourself, you're interfacing with the collective unconsciousness. You're interfacing with uncertainty. You're interfacing with the unknown. So the process here is that the more you look outside of yourself for the answers, the more you're going to realize the chaos. So we're all here to deeply, deeply heal the experiences and the wounds of our psyche, but also to evolve through them. It's not just about sitting with our wounds and just being like, oh my God, this is where we're going to be forever. No, it's also about understanding what it means to be you and honoring that path every single day. Now, the transiting North Node sits there in Virgo. And that's about asking us to make choices and decisions that are rooted in the reality of the situation, not to create and to disassociate and to transcend out of the experience and to disappear and to run away. Those are the things that will naturally come with this chart. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel lost and confused and dazed. I mean, come on. It's a really, really big deal. And it's about just allowing yourself to come back to yourself, allow yourself to come back into the centeredness of your beingness and begin to slowly but surely process what we're dealing with right now. Okay? Venus is now there. It's 26 degrees Sagittarius. It's on the galactic center. I think what's fascinating about Venus is that it's making a trine to Uranus there. And again, with Uranus and Venus making a trine, it's part of the fire trine. You're dealing with a new evolutionary direction. Uranus in Aries, new evolutionary direction. Uranus is also retrograde. So it's naturally inducing Venus's need to retrograde our relationship to ourselves and our deep core philosophy and what is natural for us. It's breaking down all of the ideals, the lies, the experiences, all the things where we have held an idea about something. All of that's been shattered. And it's like, this is what's real for us right now. This is the new direction that's available for us right now. And on some deep level, we will be able to see this going forward. Now, again, what's interesting is that Saturn's at 15 degrees Sag. Saturn's also squaring Chiron. Chiron's in Pisces. This is a big deal, okay? Chiron, energetic sensitivity and collective experiences that we all have, is in Pisces, the sign again of all the sensitivity, all the hyper-awareness, all the disillusionment, all of the uncertainty, all of the chaos, all of the hysteria, all of the hype, all of the insanity. Pisces is the archetype of insanity because it's multiple dimensions trying to be evolved through the mental sphere. Okay? Saturn's connected to that. So of course we're going to have all of our belief systems, all of our unconscious ideals and perspectives and thoughts and all of those types of things brought to the surface for us to evolve through, to heal through, to understand deeply. The Sun, it's 18 degrees Scorpio today, 17 degrees yesterday. The Mercury in Scorpio, again, the truth being revealed, the metamorphosis being revealed. Scorpio, all about uncovering it. Okay? And Scorpio is making, or should I say the Sun and Mercury are all making trines to Chiron. So there again is that process of transformation, metamorphosis, right in front of us. The unearthing of all this emotional reality all brought to the surface. And here we are. Here we sit. And here's the Pluto, there in Capricorn, square the Jupiter in Libra, right? This is the process of bringing your inner authority to yourself. This is the point, your inner owner authority. Create the shock, step back, observe the nature of our reality, what's going on. Oh my God, there's insanity. No, there can also be the realization that we're returning back to us, our beingness. So, here's something that I really, really want to put across to everybody today to understand what's going on. And I want to show you how to work with this energy. Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay. Nobody can see me on camera right now, but you can hear me. And you are hearing me because your brain is picking up the frequency that is being emitted off my being. I'm exerting energy out of myself that is creating the frequency, and the vibration that I'm on is what you're resonating with. So you're resonating with my vibration. You're picking up through your senses the frequency that I'm emitting, and I'm using the energy that is allowing myself to manifest these experiences. So, point one, let's open up our consciousness. What are we? The natural experience of us, what we are dealing with here is energy, frequency, and vibration. This is what it is. Okay? What is the definition of brainwaves? The brain constitutes a countless amount of neurons. Neurons are what allows us to recognize and develop our relationship to the frequency and the vibrations that we are consistently experiencing on a moment-to-moment basis. Okay, so which are all communicated with each other, right? That electric activity can be measured with a special equipment, the EEG, the electro, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that at this point in time. Okay, the EEG measures the electrical activity over an area of the brain. The resulting map is called a brainwave pattern. Because the neurons use brainwaves for communication, brainwaves are measured in hertz. The point I'm trying to put out here is that there is a direct connection with your mind, with your brain, and the natural function and structure of it. What is the biology of the brain and how does it work? So I'm building us a picture here of what it means to be human and interacting with reality. Okay? If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And now we have a machine. We've always had this. This is not new. The point here is to try and awaken this within ourselves, is that the brain operates through these electrical systems. Our body is electricity, and we have neurons that create pathways within our brains that allows us to have and interpret the reality that you're experiencing right now. So you're reading this, and you're also seeing this with your eyes and your ears, and you're listening to me, and your brain, through its neurons, is changing that and converting it into something that's audible for you to interpret. So the next thing to understand, what is body awareness? What does it mean to awaken yourself? Okay? Now, the point of this experience is for us to understand that as we move through this time, what we are needing to empower ourselves through is coming back to our body, coming back to our understanding of ourselves, coming back to who we are. What does it mean to be human? And if we spend all of our time in the external world, engaging in things that we have no power to influence to a certain degree, then we lose touch of what the actual purpose of your body and your electricity and this magnificent bio-vehicle is about. I'm asking us to recognize that this process has been hijacked through our darkness. And all we're doing is just bringing it back to the center. That's why I'm saying, come back to the body, come back to the stillness. What do you feel? How's your toroidal field working? You know, we have these wonderful cars and we have these wonderful existential objects in our world that we look after with great detail, and yet the body in itself that keeps us alive to experience the external things, we don't give much attention to. Why is that? Right. So step one, come back to the body, come back to the body, come back to the body, come back to the divine feminine, come back to the experiences, the emotional realizations of what we're doing. This picture over here, these two pictures, is to initiate the awareness that in the center is you. And this is the toroidal field. Okay? This is the manifestation of the flower of life. You can see here that everything is harmonics, everything is frequencies, everything is vibration. Now, when your attention is moving outside of your centeredness here, you can be influenced by other auric fields. You can be influenced by other energy patterns that are interfacing with you. So if your core is not stabilized, if your core is not understood, if you do not understand the centeredness of your own beingness, when you interface with things like the presidency changing and the insanity that's occurring and the mass hysteria and the fear and the panic, if your awareness is pulled outside of yourself, you will lose touch of your centeredness, which is the point of this experience. The centeredness is where the power lies. I don't choose these pictures randomly. Look where the power lies. The electricity is in the middle. The path to the center through the emotions, water. So this here is to illustrate to us the natural flow and energy that is around you. Okay, and they all operate through the Fibonacci sequence. Go study, go research the Fibonacci sequence, go research what it means, go research the work of Nikola Tesla, go research the understanding of the toroidal field, and understand how that operates with you. Learn more about your inner space, your beingness. Who are you? What is your sovereignty? Who governs you? What does govern you? What are your emotions? How do they work? It's time to get into that government. Vote that government. Vote your government. Your one. The one that you came into this world with naturally, that has been completely and utterly removed because of our ways of externalizing our consciousness and awareness. Right. So let's come back to this experience here. There's the brain, there's the spinal cord. Okay? Can you see here that there's also the pineal gland that sits within the limbic system, which I'll get onto? Okay? Our DNA emits frequency. The frequency creates the toroidal field. Our DNA, through its consistent spiraling, allows us to experience the reality we're experiencing right now. So change the frequency that you vibrate on, change your DNA. This operates. You can actually begin to alter the state of your DNA through a 7-year cycle by consistently becoming aware of your centeredness and then making choices from that centeredness that then begins to create the reality that is rooted in what your specific path is about. right? The idea is to create a centeredness within inside of yourself here so that the external reality manifests from the within. The spinal cord is the centeredness. It contains the pathways that the brain has and the connection that the brain has to the body. So the moment that you realize what your thoughts and processes and frequencies are in this part of the head, your head, where your limbic system exists, where your neocortex is, all of that stuff influences directly how the spine contains all the nerves through its sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, how all of that it goes into the body and allows your body to move. This is real stuff. So now understand that when your attention is outside of yourself, what you're bringing back into your body is going to be information that is rooted in what? Uncertainty, fear. So you immediately, the frequency that you are being instructed to listen to and paying attention to, and the fear and uncertainty and all of those doubts that are coming there are hijacking your own brain, because your brain is responding to your body and saying, panic, send emotions, like experience emotions that are all of these things. So get grounded, come back to the centeredness again, come back to the working of your lower chakras, right? The root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus, working with those three, grounding your awareness back into those places over there so that you're in the body experiencing the emotions. So, when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is. Coming back to your centeredness. I mean, that's insane to live over there. Right? It's just crazy. But look at the view. It's incredible. I just found it so fascinating that the vastness that we are overwhelms us in such a way that we can't control the totality of that. But when we realize that when we bring our awareness back to ourselves over here and we understand this process, we understand how to respond from inside of ourselves, that's where our true power is. So, the human mind and how it works. The mind is like an iceberg with positive and negative thoughts, memories, and belief systems. The conscious mind controls always available and accessible information. Willpower, decision-making, thinking, logic. Ego, Mars. The subconscious mind controls data that you have to dig access, recurring thoughts, behavior patterns, feelings, and memories. And the unconscious mind, memories, belief systems, habits from the age of 0, traumatic stored events, all of this type of stuff. You see all of the stuff that's here? Imagine if there was like a bomb that just happened and took all of this stuff and put it to the surface. That's what's happening. So now all of a sudden we have all of the stuff that's all of the traumatic experiences of all of the stuff that we've been suppressing, that we don't want to face, that we just don't want to deal with. All of that's coming to the surface, and now we've got no choice. Now it's right in front of us. And this is what I'm trying to operate and help us understand here, is that we have a choice to respond to this in a new way. And the choice that we can respond, the choice that we have in responding to the new way is understanding what is going on, understanding how you are operating, what are you bringing to the surface, what are you vibrating on, what are the emotions that are coming through for you right now. Okay? So, the anatomy of anxiety. Now, this is something that I really want to show everybody here. I've done some work on it already before. There's lots of other material out there in the world. This is not something that's new or evolutionary. It's just, you just have to go and Google it and find out and look at some lectures and stuff about the limbic system. But here's our brain. This is where all the frequencies, tones, and vibrations are being internalized and interpreted, right? So you're watching this PDF experience right now. You're hearing through your ears, and that's another auditory experience. And it's stimulating the inner part of your brain. Now, if we go here, can you see the eye of Horus? Right? So that's referring to the limbic system, the 5 senses, the eye of Horus there. There's no randomness here. That's all the exact experience, right? Hearing, sight, thought, touch, taste, all of it's existing within the eye of Horus. The eye of Horus is the limbic system here. So that's where Mars is. There's the spinal cord, right? This is the part that sends information to the body. The spinal cord, the cerebellum, and the what's the primal brain. It's not the primal brain, sorry. I've lost the word, what I was wanting to say with that over there. But we have the limbic system, and then we have the neocortex. And that neocortex contains the evolution of human beings and how we've developed our mind. Now, what happens here is we have all of the frequencies of conditioned patternings that are telling us that this is bad, this is how this is going to work, these experiences. And what happens to us is that influences the limbic system. And it's the amygdala that sits in the limbic system over there that is designed specifically to do what? Okay, it's an emotional core of the brain. So its primary role is to trigger fear response. And the point of it is to keep us safe on a primal level. But we're not operating on a primal level. We're operating through higher consciousness interacting with a biological form. And so the primal level is keeping us safe. But if that gets influenced by fear propaganda or information that's giving us the experience and illusion that things are unsafe and everything's going crazy and there's madness and the war, etc., if you're consistently having that every single day, can you imagine how that amygdala is being consistently trained over and over through the conditioning patterns that there must be danger, right? So that's that. Then we've got the hippocampus that sits just there behind the amygdala, or sorry, pardon me, just above it over there, that correlates to all of the memory imprints. So what we have here is the body responding to the electrical magnetic field of the world through your mobile telephone, okay, of all people's fears. They're all expressing it. That vibration is being felt. Your body's responding to that because of the fear of vibration operating at a certain frequency. That is then triggering the amygdala, and the hippocampus is bringing up all the trauma. And what your brain is having is a flooding of emotions of fear, panic, and all of the stuff. And what happens from this process is that then sends the stress hormones directly into the body. It accelerates the heart. We have a fight or flight response. The digestion shuts down. And we have these deep, deep experiences within our body where our biochemical and hormone levels are being altered by information that is in different places, like not even in our energy field, and our body's been affected by this information. So effectively, with being unconscious, you're actually having a lot of people just hijacked. Can you see what's happening here? People are not aware that their own biological system is being messed with through the insanity and fear propaganda and all of this type of information, that now we are left with such uncertainty that the body does not know how to respond. So obviously it's going to act in a way that is directly relative to how it's been naturally programmed, how it's been naturally conditioned. You got to see this process. So from this understanding, when you do get yourself into a situation, when the body is when you're having emotions come to the surface that you can feel, that you can see that are being triggered by realities that are holding their own space for their own traumatic experience, their own emotional processing, realize that this is what's occurring for you. Because when you begin to bring your centeredness back there, you can actually begin to talk to your body and say, I'm okay. I'm okay. Where am I? What are my real emotions? And begin to bring yourself and allow your thoughts and allow to consistently keep on allowing your body and your electrical system to relax itself, so that you give yourself the opportunity to bring deeper calmness within you during this period of time, and to actually energetically influence you, because that's what's happening. You're picking up and we're picking up and everybody's being influenced through the mass media, through all of that in an instant, the chaos. And you'll see it all over you. You'll see the darkness all over. The darkness is simply what? The experience of our awareness and our development, not at a point where we can understand this stuff as individuals, right? This is not something you can just go and talk to every single person on the street about. That's a realization in itself. So what I would like to do for everybody is, this is a picture that I will post on my Facebook page. Okay, you can go get this picture, or and use this picture in your mind's eye as a way of stabilizing, as well as awakening expansive emotional awarenesses and visually stimulating the natural limbic system, the natural way that your limbic system works in your body. This is a very deep healing experience. It's a very, very powerful visualization, and it does purify in a very deep way. And I would highly recommend it to use it for grounding meditations as well within your mind's eye. There's also a audio video that I would like to give everybody in the chat, and I'll go look for that while I'm in the chat as well, and how to heal the emotional body. And that's something that was actually written by Beethoven. And I want to send that out to you guys in the chat as well, and actually listen to that piece that he had written when he was healing his own electrical system. Because this is what we're needing to do here. This is about calming the electrical system, bringing the emotional reality back to the centeredness, keeping yourself sane, and operating in a way that allows for you to be more empowered in this experience. Okay, so let's quickly move to the transition. Whew, so that was pretty intense. I really hope that, I mean, even I look like I need sleep. But yeah, I think for me, that's what I have to share today in terms of message and information. I just wanted to quickly get this link. This is a 30-minute loop of Beethoven's 7th Symphony Movement 2, and it's operating at a 432 hertz frequency. And this was actually, I'm going to paste it to the post over there. You guys can see that. Oh, there we go. Now you can see me. Yay. So I've pasted that into the chat for everybody to look at. Emotional healing. Again, I'm going to post it there for everybody. Nope. That's what happens. I get it. There's the link. It's a great link. Okay, everyone. So I'll probably stay on for like another 5 minutes just to kind of allow my own electrical system to calm down. So is there anything that you wanted to ask or say during that period of time? I would be happy to respond to or share with you while I just kind of relax a bit here. Let me put it to you this way. Did everybody really get what I was trying to talk about through this whole experience? And that was really, really cultivating. There were many, 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 many themes that I was speaking about. You know, speaking about the relationship that we have to spirit consciousness coming on for us. The realization of how the body is working on an electrical level and how information, everything's frequencies, everything's vibration, and that everything that we experience is going to be a vibration of other people where they are, and that you have a choice to understand how you're interfacing with that. And that interface in itself is affecting you and how you can become conscious of that so that you can become more and more aware of how your own body is responding. That's one big thing there. That becoming groundedness and bringing your centeredness or yourself back to the centeredness, looking at the hysteria, and just giving yourself time to allow for this process to evolve through us. I think that's a big deal. Marilee, yes, this will be naturally posted to our YouTube channel, so you can share that, and I think they'll probably be ready in about 45 minutes, depending on how fast YouTube does process that. Okay, fantastic. Well, yeah, again, responding is the core theme. The ability to respond to this with your own authority, that we are here to understand ourselves, and that the more that we work with that experience, the more that we stay out of that collective shadow, like Rosalina was saying, and bringing us back to our center, allowing us to move through this experience with that empowerment. And absolutely, this video is recorded and will stay on YouTube for as long as it needs to, because every single one of us, this is how we go forward with this process. This is how we help ourselves evolve this experience. You yeah, and just hold your light. Like, this is the point there. What's the point in trying to, and that's a response to Rachel there as well. The more that you give your attention to cultivating your own direction and your own love for what it means to be you, the more you will naturally create the transference for other people to be inspired about what it means to operate in that divine heart-centeredness. So trying to convince other people or trying to see for how important it is stopping them from understanding their own process. And it can suck, because it means that you have to wait for everybody to come to their own conclusions in their own time, but that's natural. So you can be representations of what it means for that process by challenging their own reality through being a vibration that's different to theirs. Yeah, exactly. Lead by example. So this would be an example. This is what I love to do. Like, this is my response to the experience is, okay, well, I feel deeply, deeply inside of myself that empowerment comes from what I'm sharing with you today. So I spent all my time paying attention to how do I ground what I feel is meaningful and in the heart for me. What brings me joy? What brings me love? What brings me the capacity to hold that light that vibrates that? And then from that space, that becomes the way that everybody sits here today and enjoys that piece of love that I wish to share, and Jen wishes to share, and it inspires. So if you want to become a vegan chef that helps us understand the importance of nourishment, go and do that. Pay attention to that, dedicate it to that. And eventually, over a period of time, you will draw necessary people that will come into your life that will have their own natural awakening experiences. It's not an easy road and there's no race. And that's what's difficult for us. We're all in the mind saying it needs to happen straight away, and it can't. It would be insane if we just did that. It would be completely bonkers. We would go, we're living a bonkers time. So that's another process. That's what I mean. Just allow ourselves to process the depth of what it means to actually go through a period where at the moment it's completely bonkers. But we are not within ourselves, if you understand that process. And that the more that you honor that process, the more you will see that this is just an evolutionary cycle that will take care of itself in a natural way. Yeah, precisely. Okay, everyone. So again, from the bottom of my heart, and definitely honoring Jen for giving us the space to create this with me. For everybody that participated in this experience, the fact that you are watching this and caring about it in some way, shape, or form is immensely amazing. And my heart is pouring with abundance of love and joy for not only having the space to create this, but also to be able to share it with people that care for it. Okay. So everyone, I will see you in the future experiences that we'll experience in the now, with a video called The Essential Needs. And that one is rooted in helping us aware of what type of stuff we carry within inside of ourselves, and how we then put that out into the world or into our relationships, and how we can become aware of that. Okay. Okay. Right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and I hope that you travel safely over the next couple of days. Take care. Bye-bye.